Hey guys and gals, hey guys and gals, how is it going? How is it going? Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Turn it up! Turn it up! Turn it up for you guys and gals. Much love, much love for dropping by, lurkers and twerkers, sandwich making workers. Let's go! Every single one of you, awesome, awesome. Turn it up. Turning you guys and gals up because I love it. I love it when you check out the content. You know I do's. You knows I do's. Does do's. Yes, I do. Let's go. Also, yeah. Thank you so much for hitting that play button. Man, that's such a beautiful thing. I love it because that says a lot to me about the type of individual that you are. You are the inquisitive. You are the inquisitive one. Curious, all those good things. It also tells me that you enjoy learning and love learning new things. That is so great. So great. It truly is. It's great to have you. Lurkers and twerkers, those that hit the play button. You guys watching the content. Man, it's so great. It's so great to have you. YouTube lately, I gotta give credit to you a little bit. You've been going par to par with Twitch. It's so good to see. Par to par with Twitch. We're all playing golf together, boys and girls. I love it. Let's go hang out and play golf together. That'd be a fun day. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Some best ball. Let's go. Good times. It's great to have you. Learning. Some of you may be new to wanting to learn a coding language. Maybe C++ scares you a little. Don't be scared. It's okay. It's not so bad. Johnny here, WhiskeyTango Sharp Coding. I am doing my best, working hard for you guys and gals, and also doing my best to explain and go through examples and the syntax and all the little details and theory and such in regards to C++. Making it easy over here, easier to learn. I like to think so anyways. Also want to mention, this is kind of good. I'm starting to kind of get into the vibe a little bit. You guys are getting me excited with the views. You guys are. Again, realize that it's you guys and gals that keeps the content going. I'm enjoying teaching. I just love doing this too. Right? I love writing code. I enjoy it. It keeps me challenged. I love the challenge. And then helping you guys out, helping the world out. That's what I want to do. Help you guys, because most likely you're younger than I, and you are the future. You are the future. The future. Welcome to the future. So yeah, you guys keep me motivated. I enjoy teaching and just kind of talking and chatting with you wonderful people. Again, you hit the play button, you drop by, you're watching the content. That automatically tells me you are an intelligent individual. Yes, you are. For those that are kind of just dropping by, checking it out, what's happening over here? What is happening over here, you wonder? Well, we're doing C++. That's the language we are learning. If you get C++, guys and gals, you could do any other language. I'm just going to tell you right now. Every other language is, what is it called? The managed language, I guess. Something like that. It's managed. It means you don't have to think. You just get to type words like an NPC. Hi, I'm a real coder, guys. I use ChatGPT and I copy and paste like an NPC. Just jokes, guys. Just jokes. Why so serious? It's Friday. It's Friday. Be in a good mood. Let's go. Let's go. Show love to your fellow man, woman, okay? Not saying relationship, but like your friend, your family member. Tell them you care. Just let them know, okay? Doesn't hurt to hear it once in a while, you know? So yeah, you guys, gals, it's great to have you. I kind of just like chatting and talking with you guys and gals. I know I say that a lot. But yeah, guys and gals alike, because gals can learn too. They can do this as well, guys. Right? Because they can. I code because I can. That's right. So you guys and gals, keep the content going, keep the views up. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps, you know. I don't want to go on a tangent, but you know, the algorithm stuff, you guys, you know how it works, right? You're intelligent. I shouldn't even have to explain this stuff. Why should I treat you like you're a little child? You're not a child! All right. Let's go. Yeah, I have my thoughts and I want to share them with you guys and gals. I kind of go here and there and everywhere sort of thing. Eventually I do get back on track. My thoughts come back to ye mind. Yeah, YouTube, up to par. Man, yes. You guys, 3 recent follows? Let's go. Man, you made my day when I seen that. I'm like, whoa! Where'd you come from? Doesn't matter, it's great to have you. Whoever you are. I didn't get any notifications or anything, so... I mean, I don't know who you are, but wherever you are, man, it's great to have you. Thank you for that, okay? That's not common with my channel, all right? It's great to see. Great to see. Great to see, it truly is. I want to give shout-outs. I would shout you guys out if YouTube let me know who you are, because I definitely would. You guys know, I do. I show the love. Okay? I want to help you learn, okay? If this is a language you want to learn, right? Again, you can learn any language. If you start right from here, the great thing about C++, you get to you learn a better, deeper understanding of what happens under the hood with C++. I'll tell you that much. It's great. It's such a beautiful language. So, let's go. Let's do shout outs. I think it's time to get things going. I'll pop a couple more quotes in chat. And don't forget to buy me a coffee, guys and gals. Coffee would help. I must have coffee, I'm telling you. I don't want to eat coffee from the garden, guys and gals. No garden coffee for me, please. Hilarious. Oh, so okay, I'm gonna get to shout outs. I think I'm done with let's see. Something funny. Drop something hilarious in chat. Again, you have to be part of the live stream to see that. Oh, yes. Yes. It sure takes talent for you to just trip over air molecules. Man, that takes skill. Don't be an air molecules tripper over. I'm just looking out for you guys and gals. I don't want you to get injured, right? So be wary of them air molecules, okay? Don't let them trip you over. All right, awesome, cool. Let's go. Okay, turning it up. Time to turn it up. We're gonna get into things here. We are, guys, gals. We are. I'm my own mod here, so you know I gotta kind of do the mod thing a little bit. What? Okay. Hold up. That's in here, right? Yes, there we go. Okay, boom, bop, bop, bop. Do this, do that. Oh, no, don't do that. Minimizing. Sheesh. All right, we're going to get into this, show you guys and gals out on YouTube and Twitch. It's great to have you watching. Again, I want to let you guys know, like, these are the things, the details I like to explain in the beginning. This is a lecture / course. Trying to make it fun too, guys and gals. Okay, trying to make it fun as well. This is a lecture class, so if you're looking for that special 5-minute video on how to type a variable name and it gets 5 million views, excuse me there, excuse me. I had to sneeze. Came out of nowhere. Just crazy how it came out of nowhere. So yeah, if you're looking for that 5-minute video, you have not found it. Okay. Over here, we have plenty of intelligent, beautiful people that want to learn and actually spend time learning, watching content to learn. They enjoy classes and being part of it. Yes, they don't take the easy way out. They like earning stuff. They're great. All right, turn it up. Shout outs to you, brothers, sisters on Twitch and YouTube as well. It's great to see YouTube kind of turning it up a bit. Thank you so much. All right, you guys and gals, here we go. Nicole Trace 66, much love. Bart number 1, Jim Jam 1238, Kazerts 20, Gavin 555, let's go. Kamikaze ML, brother, I hope you're okay. Okay, it's great to have you. Don't kamikaze, please. I love the name though, it's awesome. I love it. It's great to have you. Also, let's do this. We got to turn this up. We got to do this every time. Every singular time. Let's go. Turning it up. What? How many? I got so much open here. Remove, cancel. Here we go. Turning it up for every time. Let's go. Ducky. Let's go. Continuing on, we have Wicked Stat. Con Papa's 9 or Con. Hello, Con. How you doing? Slow Motions. And Amir Hassan 23. Thank you, brothers, sisters. Continuing over on the YouTube side, we have Nap, Vision with a $S. Let's go. Peter N. Hello, brother. Caesar Rojas. Tech Dave 99. Yeah. Let's go, brother. How you doing, Dave? How you doing? WX87. Flawless Hack. Salt of the Earth Ministry, bless brother, and Ayawi. Let's go. Appreciate every single one of you. Again, the new follows on YouTube is great. It's awesome. I love it. Unfortunately, I wasn't notified of, I don't know what it is, a public privacy thing. I'm not sure. I have no idea. So, I do see the numbers, the change. So awesome. I know this was a little bit of a long intro, guys and gals. Okay. Well, yeah, it's up there. I mean, just expect my live streams to be, kind of the first half an hour of just showing the love and chatting with you guys and gals a little bit. Great to have you. Again, if you are watching the content, I probably should explain this stuff early on. And if you want to just get straight to learning, you're not going to hurt my feelings at all. I'll put a timestamp in YouTube and comments on if you're on Twitch watching it, which is great, of course. Wonderful Twitch. You guys could click the old play line bar, whatever that thing's called, and just kind of skip ahead, right? If you want to get right to the content. So, but yeah, no, it's great. That tells me you want to just get right to learning, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Okay, let's do this, and then we're gonna get going. Where is that? Here we go. This is for you wonderful people. Man, I got all excited. Everything looks good, though. I can see my mixer working, so thank goodness for that. I was a little worried for a millisecond because I have not checked the stream, which I normally do right at the beginning. I believe we're good. But yeah, that would have been... Man, that would have just ruined Friday had I have, every once in a while my mic is like disabled in settings in OBS. It randomly does these weird things on its own. And I have to constantly check, and thank goodness. Oh my goodness, we are good. Thank goodness for that. Okay, good. Awesome. But normally I check my stream to make sure we're good. Good. Yes, we are. We are good. Golden sauce. All right, it's time, guys and gals. It is time to throw on the old thinking cap. Throw on the thinking cap. Let all the others wear the dunce cap. And let's learn. Yeah, let's learn. Flick the old switch in the brainium cranium, and time to fill it up. Some good information. All right, hello, Visual Studio. Let's go. Thank you, Microsoft, for the free use of your $5,000 Lamborghini. $5,000 software. That is free to use, guys. Okay? Yes, I love it. I am thankful. I am grateful. Just to say as an aside, like when I was in college, when I was younger, I took design and drafting, and I regret now. I wish it was computer science because I don't want to age myself or anything, but I did some coding when I was younger, and that should have been the bells and whistles to let my little immature brain know, hey, you're supposed to go do computer science. Well, of course, I missed the boat, and I did something entirely different. And I don't want to go on a tangent. My field was in process piping. Okay. Now, if you understand how the world is kind of working, and with all the tree hugging and everything, it affects even people that are college educated. Your decision making in regards to let's make electric. I don't want to go on that tangent, but anyways, yeah, you even affect people's lives that have an education. That's right, you do. So, coding, yeah, I love doing this. Okay, so yeah, this is something I wish I was doing when I was younger. But that's okay. Doing it now, and that's what matters, okay? Guys, gals, I want to motivate you, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. You can always learn something new. It doesn't matter, okay? Always learning. If C++ is something you want to learn and you're interested in, it's great to have you. I'm here to help. I'm going to do my best to help you learn. That's the goal. Again, this is a class lecture, okay? Right? Just to be clear, for those that may be a little confused, I want to unconfuse you. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We are going to get into learning here shortly. It is Friday. I tend to kind of just go on and on and on and on, but I enjoy chatting with you guys and gals, right? Trying to balance it between having a little bit of fun and learning as well. Okay? All right, so let's do this. Let's learn. Here's something before we get going. I'm going to do this, okay? This is going to be good. I want to help you keep positive. Stay positive. For me, myself, what keeps me motivated? Well, my son, first and foremost, always. And I just enjoy doing this. Again, I would have been learning different languages years and years and years ago. Probably would have been C first, right? Had I started those, 20 years ago, right? Had I started this journey 20 years ago, that would have been the language, but that's okay. Again, if you're curious if you need to learn C before C++, you don't, guys. You don't. Okay? The theory and everything, for the most part, is all the same. The knowledge, the theory. But what's different is the syntax. Okay? So you're essentially learning a new language. You would be. Right? It's no different if you decide to learn C#. Now, I think you can learn C# and go to C++. That step wouldn't be so hard. For me, I like the challenge. I'm the type of person, I'll do the hardest thing first. I don't take the easy way out. And because I've done the hardest thing first, everything else is gravy and biscuits. I'm telling you. Way easier. Okay, so this is some information, right? We are learning. We're on track here. We're talking about coding related stuff, and this is to kind of motivate you, right? So this information's here for you. I could scroll just a tiny little bit so you have a little bit of extra information. I'm not going to read it all. But that's some advice and tips for you. Again, I'm here to help, and I want you to learn as well, right? Get excited. Get excited. Okay? So, yeah, I'm sharing some information that I got from my journey, right? Thank you, Tim. And yeah, that's some good advice. Great advice. Again, you do. All those things that are there that were said and written are true. Okay, so what is the difference? Now remember I was talking, we're doing this now, guys. Okay, so when we're talking about int main, okay, we're talking about int main. Remember how I mentioned you could also have void, which kind of maybe trips your brain a little bit, or maybe your mind breaks for a second. Yeah, it's kind of odd. It breaks my mind too a bit. But apparently you can have void main as well. Now here it is. What is the difference? I was unable to answer that question, and now I can. We're doing a course outline here. Okay? I will follow the course outline for the most part. A lot of times I'll actually explain it and show examples before I even continue with the reading. But the reading will kind of secure that. It'll give you that reassurance, right? And it's also a little bit of extra good information as well. Okay, what is the difference between int main and void main? Which one should I use? Right? You may ask yourself, right? I have used both. Okay, this is, somebody else talking, right? I have used both and they both worked fine. So why do we need to use int main and then with return 0? Right? I've already showed you guys and gals, you actually don't need it. Because int main is a special case type of function. Yes, it's an int, but it's literally the only one that you can get away with not having a return. Okay? All right. Here's the answer. Okay? Both will work on most compilers. Okay, depends on your compiler. Obviously, I'm using Visual Studio. I haven't gone into too many deep details about different compilers. I've never read. They always recommend you read the literature, I guess, that goes with it. I never have. I'm too busy learning everything else because there's a lot to learn. And I'll even repeat learn. I'll go over stuff again and review and study again if I have to, refresh my memory essentially is what I'm doing, right? And then you go and you go back to some stuff that you've done in the past and you're like, oh yeah, right, I kind of forgot about that. You know what I mean? So carrying on, answer. Both will work on most compilers, but only int main is ANSI compliant. Okay, so I'll just paste this right here. I'm kind of slowly building this little thing here for you guys and gals. Just some more information for you to read. Let's go like that, and then is guaranteed. Oops. Okay. Both will work on most English, please. On most compilers, but only int main is ANSI compliant. That's why I said that. And thus, only int main is guaranteed to continue working. Okay? It's a general answer. Here's the difference. Int main returns a value to the operating system. Take note, guys and gals. C++, like when a compiler does its magic, it converts everything to binary, zeros and ones, right? That's how the CPU does its little magic, behind the scenes, right? And zeros or ones are kind of like on-off. If you took any electronics or electrical theory, you would have a better understanding how that works. You don't need to know. You don't really need to go that deep into learning, but in the code and the theory, you definitely do. Syntax, semantics, theory, the lingo, all that stuff. Okay? It's highly important. C++ gives you a deeper understanding. I'm a strong believer in that. So it returns a value to the operating system. And again, the point I wanted to make is that the C++ language basically is direct communication with the CPU, because it gets converted to zeros and ones, right? So that's why C++ may even be considered a faster language. There are other more details than that, but that is considered the faster language. Okay, during runtime and all those things, it literally talks directly with the CPU. You can't get any faster than that. Okay, here's the difference. Int main returns a value to the operating system. When your program completes, that value can be captured by, for example, batch programs. You don't really need to know what a batch file is, but batch program, whatever. It's just an example. You won't be using the return value in programs in this course. It is rare that you will otherwise, but the ANSI standard requires it. Okay, apparently, it's an ANSI standard, right? I don't know why I keep going down there, guys. I should know to stop here. For some reason, I keep going. I don't know why. Bad habit, I guess, I'm building. But the return, it's just something to do with the standards, right? I could still run it without it, but in regards to int and double and all those type of functions, return is standard. That's kind of what I get from it. But it's also mandatory that it at least returns 0. Okay, at the minimum, it has to. Okay. Default parameters. All right, I'm going to clean things up. Okay, this is from last stream. So thank you for watching that, if you checked it out. Appreciate you. Again, you're going to have to go back to, if you missed that, if you missed out, okay, we're good now. I was waiting for that to go away. Again, guys and gals, I have to reiterate, if you're just dropping by for the first time and you want to learn the language, I recommend you kind of start from the beginning and follow. Like, I'm putting together a good series of videos here. We're going step by step, gradually growing here. That's what's happening, okay? It's a course lecture. You can't just jump right in and then, obviously it would help to have an understanding to be able to jump right in, but that's what I recommend. Okay? And if you go back and you're following the video series and you get back to here and, whoa, hey, man, great to have you. You're back? That's amazing. Oh, man, you went through all that? Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. Much love. Much love. Thank you for learning along with Johnny, WhiskeyTango Sharp Coding. It's great to have you. It truly is. Okay, default parameters. For every parameter you declare in a function prototype, okay, you should know the lingo here by now, guys and gals, okay? All right, I'm going to explain things. I'll go over things again and again a little bit, but to some point, to some degree, I get to a point where that's enough explaining it, right? So, but because I've explained it a lot, right? I will go over some fine details if I need to here and there, but... Okay, let's continue. So you should know what a function prototype is. For every parameter you declare in a function prototype and definition, the calling function must pass in a value. Okay? That's your argument, right? Passing a value means passing in an argument. The value passed in must be of the declared type. So what they're saying is, if it's an int function and you're passing in int data types, you must pass in an int whole number, right? This is basically bottom line what it's saying, okay? Thus, if you have a function declared as, now I'm just gonna put a random function here. I'm not running it, I'm not gonna make it, I'm not gonna create it. We're just gonna put it here. It's gonna be broken code, but I'll show you. This would be a declaration, so I guess I could have put it up top. Right here. Well, I'll just put it right here because it's really not necessary. But there you go, okay? Now, this kind of breaks my mind a little bit, but I don't... For the most part, guys, when you read other people's code and see other people's code and learn from other people's code or whatever you're doing, majority of the time you're just going to see int. That's what I see majority of the time. Okay? Now you can use long, you can do this. Let me bring up some of this. I'll bring this up like I usually do. And then we have a long. Basically, a long is a long int. Obviously, it's signed, so that means we're going in the negative to the positive, right? 2 billion. That's 2.1 billion, guys and gals. 2.15 to be exact. Okay. Going back. All right. Thus, if you have a function declared as that, okay, function prototype, it's doing that because we haven't done the definition. That's all it is, okay? So if you're reading down here and wondering what that is, all we have to do is create the definition. That's all, no big deal. Compiler is giving you pre-warning saying, hey Bob, what you doing? You're not quite done yet. Okay, the function must in fact take an integer variable, right? So what you pass in, you wouldn't pass it in here, but for example, you would pass in a whole number, right? This is not the area for passing in. Okay, if the function definition differs, or if you fail to pass in an integer, you receive a compiler error. A lot of times you might see something to the effect of lose data. I've done that sometime. Like I just recently I've been working on vectors and stuff. We'll get into vectors in the future. But my variables in my class were floats, and I was passing in integer values being a dirt burger because I don't know, just not paying attention. And the program's yelling at me saying I might lose some accuracy or something to that effect. That's not exactly what it said verbatim. But my mind was automatically thinking significant digits, right? My mathematics mind. Right, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna lose some accuracy, right? It's no big deal. I'm just kind of practice coding anyway, so, but it was good too because I learned something new. I'm like, man, wake up, Bob. What are you doing? Okay, be aware, if you're declaring variables in your class as float, make sure you pass in float values, right? silly me. Even the program, the compiler's like trying to yell at me. Well, not literally, but anyways, let's carry on. If the function differs, okay, the one exception to this rule is if the function prototype declares a default value for the parameter. So you could do this, and I'll show you some examples. It's not something I commonly do, but you can do it. A default value is a value to use if none is supplied. Okay? So you can default a variable, right? So you create a variable, instead of it being 0, maybe it needs to be another number. You can default value it. That's what it means. Okay, a default value is a value to use if none is supplied. The preceding declaration could be written as, which is kind of wild sauce in the brain to imagine. Now, should this be done in the... it looks like it's still a function prototype, because where they have it written, they're not showing the whole code. This is just kind of sitting in mid-sentence sort of thing, right? Right? Now I'm going to still have this. Oh. Wow, that's amazing. So apparently I just defined it. Wild. Cool. I don't normally do this, right? This isn't something I normally do. Especially when you get to working with classes and such, there's other ways to actually initialize. You can do this in classes. So take note, we are not in a class, right? So what we're doing here, we can do if you're not working with a class, okay? Just as kind of a heads up. You can do this stuff, right? We just have a singular translation unit, main CPP, and we're doing everything here above and below the main and in the main, okay? So we just basically initialized X to 50, and that's its default value, right? Maybe that's the minimum value in your program or whatever you're creating, okay? This prototype says my function returns a long and takes an integer parameter, right? If an argument is not supplied, use the default value of 50, right? So, right, the point is when we actually call the function, if we don't pass anything in, the default value will be 50. Essentially, that's what it's saying. We'll do hopefully an example here. Because parameter names are not required in function prototypes, this declaration could have been written as int equals 50. Apparently. Okay, so I'm on... I don't know. I should have just kept it as 17, but I set it up as 20. So, but just as a heads up, that's the standard that's being utilized right now in this program. You could easily change it up or down. It's up to you. Just depends on the standard you want to follow. Standards, I don't know. I don't want to give the wrong information, but maybe some syntax is different or something, you know, it could be anything, right? Things are changing, things are progressing, things are advancing, and obviously 20 would be the most current, right? And you kind of have to keep up to par with technology. Well, not just technology, but the standards and, you know, all the little nuances and details and changes that happen behind the scenes, right? All right, let's continue. This prototype says my function, okay, stop reading the same thing all the time, because the parameter names are not required in function prototypes. So take note of that, right? Remember how I deleted, right? So if your mind thinks that, right? If your mind thinks that, right? I don't need a variable right there in my prototype, okay? So I could just initialize int to 50. That would be the default with no variable. Pretty wild sauce, huh? Things you could do. All right. So this declaration could have been written as, okay, yeah, and that's what we're doing. Again, it works fine. It's a definition. That's why the error list doesn't have any errors, because I'm actually doing both. I'm declaring and defining. all at the same time, right? Again, you could 1-2 step this. You can, but it's not really recommended. Again, we're not working with classes and that yet, so I like the 3-part mine. If you've been following, you know what I mean by the 1-2-3 step. Okay. The 1-2, in this case, this would be 1 and 2, right? Okay, the function definition is not changed by declaring a default parameter. The function definition header for this function would be, right? So the function definition header, and this is what they have. They just have that. But in this sense, we're not really, this is still has no definition, right? Take note of that. If the calling function did not include a parameter, the compiler would fill X with the default value of 50. Of course, I just removed it. Okay. Squiggly lines, be gone. Be gone. Be gone. Okay, never mind. For some reason you can't talk to your Visual Studio and it doesn't listen. What's up with that? If the calling function did not, okay, that's that. The name of the default parameter in the prototype need not be the same as the name in the function header. The default value is assigned by position, not name. Okay, interesting. Position, yeah, I'll show you. We're going to find out here shortly what that means by position. Any or all of the function's parameters can be assigned default values, okay? So the point is we could have more than one, right? What did I just press? I pressed the shortcut there. I don't even know what I just pressed. I went to go backspace, right? So this is still a function prototype, the way I have it written. Okay. Int. So I'm going to go like this, and just to get rid of the error, we'll do a little program, an example. Boom, done. Let's go. Okay. And I'm just going to name it param1, param2, and then param3. I'm just, whoops. 2 and 3. And then we are doing a definition now, guys and gals. Therefore equals curly brackets, which I already have. Silly me. Okay, they're right there. And because I did the quick actions and refactoring, it automatically set up the most basic thing that you need for a long function, right? We can have a long, obviously, as well. It's not common. Most of the data type functions you see are int or float or double. Those are the most common ones. You can assign a default value to param2 only. Okay, here, let me just go back to this. So any or all of the function's parameters can be assigned default values. So any or all. Okay, these are the parameters, guys, gals, right? Remember, this function takes 3 parameters, okay? And this would be called a parameters list, right? I think it's an ownership thing, right? Parameter list. Or parameter list. Let's just keep it like that. Parameter list. Okay. And there we go. Amazing. Need some coffee. I got just over 12 fluid ounces. Ah! It's not too bad. All right, awesome. Okay, this is still running. One thing you need to pay attention to is if your console is open, you can't rebuild. You always have to close your console and then make changes, build, run. Whenever you run the local Windows debugger, it automatically brings up the console. But then it doesn't, right? You have to remember to close it, okay? All right, I just gave it a quick build. You can also build from within here, right here. So yeah, actually clicking the project. So it's another way of doing it. Not common, but I figure I'd share that with you. Okay, so any or all. The one restriction to this is if any of the parameters does not have a default value, no previous parameter can have a default value, right? So it's kind of like an order of operations thing, sort of. The main point is, where's that statement that I read? I want you guys to fully kind of understand this, right? It's kind of like a right to left thing, if I recall. Where did I read that? I'm just going over what I read again here. Right, there it is. The name of the default parameter in the prototype need not be the same as the name in the function header. The default value is assigned by position, not name. Okay, that was the statement I wanted to make again. The default value is assigned by position, not name. Okay, we are going to do an example here, but I just wanted to kind of repeat that. Okay. So our function prototype looks like, right? This. Okay. You can assign a default value to parameter 2 only if you have assigned a default value to parameter 3. So that's the point. It's a right to left thing. So if this is assigned a value, you can assign a value here. You can't just pick this one and these ones not have any. That's kind of how it works. So I might actually need these because we're going to be assigning values to these to these variables. I'm probably going to need them up and yes, I am. Okay, I'm going to need them up in the prototype because that's where you actually pass in your default values is up here in the function. So this is the time when you actually need the variables, okay, in your function prototype. So we're going to do an example. You can assign a default value to parameter 1 only if you assign default values to both 2 and 3, right? So this has to be assigned a value, okay? If this has no value, you can't assign this a value. It's kind of like an order of operations thing in the sense, but again, it's right to left. Okay? So let's do an area of a cube function, okay? Just for fun. And I'm going to go width, length, and height. Okay? Because this one makes the most sense, right? So I'm going to copy this, because I'm copying it because I've decided in my program, I'm like, I feel like passing in default values. Okay, so I'm going to copy it and paste it up here. Okay, there we go. My prototype matches my definition. Okay, so there we go. So now in the function prototype, take note, that's where we are. Let me just cut this and paste it right there. All right, quick build, no issues. So now I can actually give it values, just default values. These are default values, and it's your decision what value you want them to be, right? Let's say my length is 40. Okay, good enough. So remember, you cannot assign a default value to the middle one if this one doesn't have, right? It'll actually be an issue. Okay. Now, we're going through an older course outline. Things could be different. We're in 2025 now. But for all intents and purposes, the theory and the logic should still be the same. Okay, so now we just got to finish our definition. And obviously, we know how to calculate the area of a three-dimensional object. Return. So there's a couple of ways. Let me show you something here, guys and gals. You could do this as well. You could maybe, it has to be, I just thought of thinking, because it returns a long. It should return a long. Okay, so I have to actually return a long. So, but my variables are all ints. Does that still work? I'm just wondering if we have to cast and such. What I was just going to suggest, it's a lot easier if the function has the same name. You won't have any issues or compiler errors. Okay? But this is a long function. So let's pretend they're both int. Okay? Then I would just create a new variable. And then pass in width multiplied by length. We don't need any brackets for this because it's just straight multiplication. There's no addition, guys and gals, so it's not necessary. And then I would just return the new variable. Okay? I just wanted to show you that. You can do this. This would be a reason why you would create a local variable inside a function. Okay? It's the only reason you would do it. Again, this variable is only local to the function, nowhere else. Okay? If we're talking about scope. Alright? So, but because I'm thinking we might get that loss of like the significant accuracy type issue, and I haven't really done any. We could static cast and do all that sort of stuff, but I don't really want to throw all that at you guys and gals right now, right? We're keeping it basic, but my point is, if this was an int, you're not going to have any issues because it's all matching. Int, 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 int. No issues, right? Right? We're returning a long, we should return a long, right? These have to match. Okay? But I'm just going to go like this, Control X. I just wanted to show you that you can do that. There. Okay, I did. See? So, and then just straight return width times length times height. Real simple. Okay? It's up to you if you want to pass it in a variable first. Alright? Simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay, in the int main, now we're going to create some local variables, local to the main. And we're going to actually initialize them as well. I'm going to do them... I'm going to do them inline. I call them... I say the word inline, but I just mean like inline, right? Because I could do this... whoops, it's doing that because I haven't put the semicolon. I could do this and I could continue going like this. How you write your code is up to you. Your decision. And then we have height equals 2. And then we need a return, right? We need something to store that calculation, right? Remember? We need a variable to store that calculation. Remember, it's just returning, it's a limbo number. Okay? As a matter of fact, I wanted to kind of clarify something. Let's see if I can find that. Just to quickly clarify something that I missed in the other day's stream. A couple of days ago or last week, whichever it was. I wanted to point out something. It was a left-hand, right-hand side thing, concept. 700, somewhere around 700. I've got my notepad document organized and labeled a little bit. I spent the time on the weekend doing that, just so I could be a little bit quicker at this. Okay, here we are. Where was that? Left-hand side, right-hand side, where are you? Was that here? Yes, that's it. This was it here, okay? I shared this with you guys and gals already, okay? But I kind of missed the boat on explaining something. Remember how I was saying we're talking about left-hand side, right-hand side values, okay? And how I mentioned or suggested that the right-hand side are values that are kind of just floating in limbo. I was just, kind of giving you that so that you had some sort of organization and thought in your head in regards to left-hand, right-hand side concepts. Okay, that makes sense? So the right-hand side is kind of a value floating in limbo. Well, to explain things a little bit better, it says it right here. Okay? So in memory, they got this what's called a temporary value. Okay? So that's the right-hand side. That's the temporary value that they're talking about right here. I'm not going to read all this. I shared this with you already, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate, re-explain that. Okay? The temporary value, whatever's on the right-hand side gets a temporary value. It's not just floating in memory, just like an object in space or anything like that. This is what happens, okay? There's a temporary value. Or, temporary... somewhere, however it's stored. It's not stored in a variable, obviously, because it's a right-hand side. Okay? I just wanted to kind of express that to you so that we're all on the same page of understanding. Okay, so now I need, because I have to pass that right-hand side information into a new variable, right? That's why we create the new variable. So I'm just going to go return area, okay? And then I could just make it 0. Okay? So what I want to do here is actually I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put everything in line because, or I could do it like this. If I want nice, clean organization, I could do it like this as well. So don't let your brain break from this. This is just a little bit of organization. You could actually do it like this. If you like this is nice and clean. So let me show you what it actually looks like. I'll do mine inline. So I call this inline. And all we're doing here is just adding the comma separators. Take note of the syntax. The more code you grind, the more you write and type. You're going to store that in your mind. Again, the more practice, the better you're going to get. You're going to know when to type what. Right? There's kind of like an order of operations with syntax. But you can do this as well if you like nice organized code. Okay, I'll leave it like that because why not? So now we have to pass in the function, right? This is the point. This is for our function, right? We're going to pass in whatever. I'm just going to copy this. That's a terrible name for it. I'm going to call it my area function or something. My area foo. I like it. Let's call it an area foo. Okay, my area foo. And now I have to make sure it matches, right? Does it want me to make it static? Probably, yeah. So I could do that as well. I'm just going to update. Remember, if you make a change to the name of your function in your definition area, make sure it matches, right? And then here I could put static. Okay, build it. What? What? 68. What happened? What did I do? Oh, I'm not finished. That's why. Okay, that's what it is. I haven't finished, guys. Okay, copy this. And go like this. There we go. I haven't passed in anything yet, so it'll probably argue that now. Right? Now it's saying it doesn't. So it's basically telling me, it's saying, Bob, it doesn't take 0 arguments. It takes 3. Do you even know what you're doing when you're typing? Bob! So make sure you pass in everything in order. Width, length, height. Okay? You have to be consistent, guys and gals. Consistent. So let's pass in. Again, we could not create new variables. I could just pass in 50, 100, and 2. This is legitimate code, guys and gals. Legitimate code. You can do that. But we've created symbolic constants. That's what they call these. Right? When you do this is a symbolic constant. The value is the literal constant. Symbolic constant, literal constant. If we want to be precise. Okay, so now all we've done here, just to continue, okay, that should clean up that problem. Bye-bye. So all we've done here is if we hypothetically run the program, it jumps into the function, it does the calculation, but remember, that return is in a temporary value, right? It's in a temporary location in memory. So we can still consider it a value just floating in limbo in memory, right? Or in space. Okay, so we create this variable so that we could pass that in, right? Remember, it's the left-hand side that actually has the memory address. Well, the left-hand side has its own house in memory, has a memory address. A house is a container. It can contain things within. We have 3 dice or 3 die inside that container, essentially, well, not really like that. It's going to be one value. I don't mean to say it like that. These all have their own location in memory, okay? Just to be clear. I don't want to steer you wrong, okay? And I didn't mean to say that. Because they all get multiplied together, it becomes one singular value, right? So that singular value, so in this location in memory, it's going to be a singular die with a singular value on it, whatever that value is going to be. 2 times 100. What have we got? 5,000. 5 times 1. 5,000 times 2. 10,000. Is that what it's going to be? Anyways, that's going to be on the die, and it's just a value inside our container, right? But we have to actually return that to the console. Okay, we're not done. Let me just see code here. Is that kind of what we're doing here? Bop, bop, bop. Yeah. Da, da, da. So far, so good. Whoops. Okay. I'm just going to go my area. I guess it's, what's it for? A cube? No, it can't be a cube because this has different, it could be any shape. Well, I guess is it called a cube still? When I think cube, I think square, right? Anyways, my area, good enough. Of my shape, the area of my shape, or whatever, however you want to put it in there. The string literal could be anything you want. Okay, let's return that value because this is what's holding the value, and return it to the console. And build. Let's see. Okay, so let's do the first area. Oh yeah, check this out. Okay, so note that we have all 3 variables in here. So it's going to pass in whatever values are, stored within, right? This is stored into this. That's stored into this. Each one of these variables has its own location in memory, its own memory address, its own container, and it's holding these. I just think of these values as like a number on a die, okay? And then that die is just kind of inside the container, right? However you want to logically organize it in your mind is up to you. I try to help. So again, to be clear, this has its own memory location, this has its own memory location, this has its own memory location, and this will, technically speaking, have its own memory. Well, yeah, it will have its own memory location as well. Right? They're all going to be just like houses on a block. Okay, stack memory. So this is information that's pre-runtime. So therefore equals, it's information that's stored on the stack memory. Okay? I want you guys to have that concept and understanding early on. Because when we get into dynamic memory, by the time we get to that area, you guys are going to be like, yeah, man, this is so easy. And that's the goal. That's the plan. Okay, so take note. I've passed in all 3 variables. And then we're going to return whatever that value is. And let's run it. I've got syntax error rate. No. What? I knew I had a syntax error there. What am I doing, Bob? Okay, builds. I just looked at it and seen it. I didn't even see it in the error list. I just automatically visually. That's what, when you start grinding enough code, you know you got something misplaced. All right, there we go. 10,000. Oh, look at me. I can math in my head. Oh! Pretty easy, guys, actually. There's a 0 here, there's a 0 here, there's a 0 here. 3 zeros. 5 times 1 was obviously 5. Oh, what's 5 times 2? 10. Oh, that's another 0. Therefore equals 4 zeros. Yeah, it's pretty easy, to be honest. Okay, so anyways, no big deal. Let's carry on. So I'm going to copy this, and I want to show you something. Okay, take note, remember, recall. So now you're at the point wondering, well, how does this even work? Right? If you're passing in 3 variables, how does that even work? I've obviously initialized them to whatever's here. Remember, whatever is local, whatever variables are local, kind of take precedence. They take charge. Essentially, this is kind of like global variables, but they're inside our prototype. So whatever's in here kind of just gets negated. I don't want to scroll back to that section of the video. How does that... Did I save that section? Maybe that information that's kind of stored in my brain I want to share with you. This is kind of the general concept. It's not true what we're doing. It doesn't match what we're doing. But essentially, it's kind of the same thing. A local variable with the same name as a global variable hides the global variable. It's not exactly the same concept because our variables are different. But you can look at it like that, right? These are global, so just take note. If we've actually assigned values to these variables, they're the ones that are going to be used here, okay? Not the ones that are up here. So how do we use the ones that are up here, you may ask? Let's check it out. Take note, height is 1, length is 40, and width is, well, we didn't even assign it. Actually, well, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I just wanted to show, yeah, that's fine. This is fine. Okay? This is fine. We're good. We're good. So check this out. So, we're going to get rid of height. Okay? There we go. Now we're only passing in, let's just go 2, 1, and I think 1 enter. Maybe we'll do a double enter. Just to create some separation. I'm going to do a double enter. Okay? The extra enter or the extra new line just creates that extra space. Okay? The first enter just brings the cursor down 1 level. The second enter basically creates this space, this gap. Okay? So, we've gotten rid of the height. Okay? Take note the height is 1. Right? We could change that value. Okay, there we go. Check it out. So what do we have? We have width times length, which is 50 times 100. So 3 zeros is 5,000. Our length is 1. Any number multiplied by 1 is the same return value. Return, right? So check it out. So what it's done is essentially, under the hood, it's used that H as 1. So that's how the default value is used, guys. You don't see it, right? I could actually put a 2 there. Let me do that so you can see. I'll put a 2 here. And we should get a return of the exact... Actually, that's not going to work. Let me change... No, let's just change it to a 3 so that you fully can see it. Okay? I changed this from 1 to 3. Let me build it and run it. We should have triple the value, an extra 5,000. Let's go. Let's go! So you guys understand? The point that I'm trying to make here is under the hood, when the function is processed, it's actually using the default value. Okay, and I'm showing it right here. Okay? That's the understanding. That's why I put it to 3. So check it out. Pretty cool, huh? It really is. Now let's copy this and do it one more time. Okay, this time it's going to be the third, and we're going to get rid of length. Remember, it's a right to left thing. Okay? You can't assign this a value if you don't assign this a value. You assign this a value, you can assign this a value. If you assign this a value, you can assign this a value. Okay, it's right to left. So I got red, now we're left with width. Okay? So our width is going to be 50, but take note, our length is 40. Okay? So our length is less than what it was initially. Okay? It's going to be 40% essentially. Okay, let me just build it and run. Let's go. You guys see that? It's pretty cool, huh? So that's how you use default values. Okay? If you don't put in something, the program, when it compiles and runs, it'll use the default values that are in our function prototype. That's awesome sauceum. Pretty awesome sauceum. It really is. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't think it requires any more explaining than that. I know you guys are beautiful, intelligent people because you're watching the content. If you're watching the content, that automatically tells me that you are an inquisitive, learning type individual, and it's great to have you. Okay, I don't think I need to explain. I'm not going to go into all the details. We kind of talked about it. I don't think there's any reason for me to continue. It's pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Whoops. Right. Test number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, nice little visual. There's our function. There's our prototype. We hard-coded some default values into main. We've also given them values. Okay. Oh, the same name. Right, same name. They are same name. What am I doing, Bob? Well, I'm glad you guys clued in. I just caught my little mistake there because for some reason I was thinking they're different names because I don't like same name variables. I don't. But that is the benefit of having the same name. Right? There, that explains that, right, guys? Isn't that cool? The light bulb just went off in my head. You probably clued in earlier. And that tells me, you should know, like, I should be hearing, man, I get this. I totally get this, right? You do. You, in fact, do. You get this. It clicks. So the point is when I went down here, that statement is actually true. I don't know what I was thinking. A local variable with the same name as a global variable hides the global variable. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, do's and don'ts. Do remember that function parameters act as local variables within the function. Did that make sense? I hope so. Function parameters act as local variables within the function. Do remember that changes to a global variable in one function changes that variable for all functions. Hope that makes sense. Don't try to create a default value for a first parameter if no default values exist for the second, right? So that's why I was saying it's a right to left thing, okay? What they said there is don't do this, okay? Negatory, okay? You have to create default values from right to left. Don't forget that arguments passed by value cannot affect the variables in the calling function. Okay, yeah, that's the key point, right? That's the thing about when passed by value, right? That's the concept. And when we get into it, we're going to eventually get there, guys. So what we're doing right now is passing by value, okay? Remember, copies are made. Remember that concept? Right? Inside the function, copies are made. Even though, I mean, the names are matching. They are, in fact, matching. But they're still kind of separate from each other in that sense. I could change these variable names. I could. It'll all still work, right? I showed you yesterday's stream that you could do that. I'm not a fan of same name, but I can see the benefits of same name here when you're doing default values. Okay, that I can see the benefit in that for sure. Now this is you don't have to write your functions like this, but you can, right? It's just another tool in your toolbox, boys and girls. Another tool in your line coding toolbox. Let's go. Okay, so I'll just bring it up kind of quickly, and we're not going to get into it now, but there's a term called, there's two of them actually, and passing by, it's kind of called pointer reference in a sense. It's probably the hardest one. Passing by, because the passing by pointer reference kind of breaks people's brains, I think. Passing by reference is the easiest. Passing by reference is an alias, if you will. The symbol used for passing by reference, I'm just going to talk about it now. Stay tuned in the future, we'll get into that. Passing by pointer is the asterisk, and anytime you hear reference, it's the ampersand. Okay? When there's no symbols, let me just show you, right? If you see symbols, this is the pass by reference symbol, okay? As an example. Now it's arguing because my functions don't match, right? But if you see the symbols, you'll know this is passing by reference, okay? And we'll get into that. I'm not going to explain those details now, but when we get there, I will, okay? That's kind of a separate video on its own because it's kind of an area that breaks people's brains a little bit. And I'm going to try my best to explain it to you in a rational, reasonable, simplistic sense, okay? Thank you for having me teach and help you with your learning C++ coding journey. It's great to have you. Okay, so if you don't see these symbols, we're just passing by value. Passing by value makes a copy. Okay? So it makes a copy in memory. So the point is these are kind of their own variables. Okay? this is a variable in memory, right? Even though they're the same name, but they're technically speaking independent of each other. All right? I don't know the best way to explain that, right? Just think of this as the fence, okay? All right? You got a neighbor on this side, and you got a neighbor on this side, okay? This neighbor is not the same as this neighbor. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. Okay, yes, they do have the same name. I mean, there's nothing to say that Bob doesn't live here, and there's nothing to say that Bob doesn't live here either, right? You can have Bob living here and Bob living over here. Two Bobs, right? So, with that knowledge, right, it makes sense. This is its own variable. That means it's going to be on a copy. It's going to take up space and memory too, right? Because it's its own individual in space and time. So in memory, it's going to be its own individual in memory, and this is going to be its own individual in memory. So now you have duplicate memory locations, right? And the thing about C++ is here's the key thing, right? That's why I have this here. The most important C++ coding considerations: memory, performance, and optimization. Right? Memory is key. That's the great thing about C++. You learn deep. You get a deeper understanding. You kind of almost think like a computer after a while. You can start thinking like a computer. Imagine that. Okay? Memory is key. All right, let's continue. Overloading functions. Ooh, we're getting into some good stuff. And where does the time go? Where does the time go, Bob? I'm sorry I'm taking so long, guys and gals. But again, I hope, I just want you to appreciate and understand, like I'm taking the extra steps and explaining things so that you guys can fully grasp the concept. That's the goal, right? It may take a little bit extra time, but it's going to be worth it in the end. Okay? No 5-minute videos here. You guys are at another level of understanding. I even like that quote. You guys are all at another level of understanding. Okay? If that makes sense. Just wanted to type it first before my brain went, I forgot, Bob. And new line, semicolon. Okay? I know I could have ran it, but I'm just going to put it. I don't want too much information down there. That's the thing. You guys are all at another level of understanding, right? You're going to be above par than your peers. Okay? That's the goal. Okay, overloading functions. Okay, what does that mean? Overloading functions. Okay, I'm going to clean things up. Great example. Great example. And great example. Boom. Okay. C++ enables you to create more than one function with the same name. Oh no! That's not so bad. Well, okay, put on the thinking caps, guys. Everybody else is wearing the dunce caps. You're not. Let's go. So, C++ enables you to create more than one function with the same name. This is called function overloading. Okay? And it's a pretty good concept. It actually is. Today's topic. Okay, that's what we're doing. Function overloading. The functions must differ in their parameter list. Okay, that's key. Okay, the functions must differ in their parameter list. And what it means, what they're referring to is the data type, guys, gals. Okay, with a different type of parameter, a different number of parameters, or both. Okay, so here's some examples. I guess I'll put them up in the prototype area. Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around this again. The function has the same name, okay? Right? Recall earlier when I was saying that you shouldn't have, like, we're gonna have a breaking code if we have matching function names, and that's true, right? But not with when you're actually deliberately wanting to overload functions. Okay, so here's the concept. I'm gonna call my overload foo. Okay, that's the name I'm giving it. My overload foo, and it takes an int as an example. Okay, and then we're going to create the exact same thing, but this one's going to take a long. And I'm going to do the same thing, and we have the exact same thing, except this is going to be just a singular long. Okay, this is just a random example. Okay, guys, gals. So I have to see. Let me just leave it like that. Okay. The only reason we have squiggly lines is because we don't have a definition yet. Right? Remember, definition is down here. Okay, no definition yet. So that's all it is. It's an easy fix. Okay. My function mine's called my overload foo. Is overloaded with 3 parameter lists. Okay. Right? These are the parameter lists. Okay. I have int, long, and a long. I mean, technically, I could change this to a double, a float. Just depends on the data types you want to work with. Okay. The first and second versions differ in the types of the parameters, and the third differs in the number of parameters. Right? That's true. Same number of parameters, but differing types, right? The return types can be the same or different on overloaded functions. Okay, right, because I was actually trying to recall in my head, like, do we go double, float? Depends on your return type you want, I guess. That's technically what I would do, but that's okay. We'll just go with the long. It's not one I commonly use, so I'm just trying to wrap it in my head, being able to use it. Okay. All right. 2 functions with the same name and parameter list, but different return types generate a compiler error. To change the return type, you must also change the signature, name, and/or parameter list. Okay, so that sounds like you can't have. It sounds like all the return types have to match. Okay, just from what I read there. Okay, so function, here we go. Function overloading is also called function polymorphism. Okay, that's the new word for the day. I haven't actually updated this much, but that's the new word for the day. Okay, polymorphism. Just, you can research into it a little bit if you want. Polymorphism kind of goes more into classes and such. You'll hear the same term being used or thrown around. Okay? Doesn't hurt to be aware of it right now. Have knowledge of it. You don't have to have a deep understanding as of yet. Poly means many, and morph means form. Just think of it as like, I don't know if you're into sci-fi, some kind of alien creature, polymorphism. A polymorphic function is many-formed. Function polymorphism refers to the capability to overload a function with more than one meaning. By changing the number or type of the parameters, you can give two or more functions the same function name, and the right one will be called automatically. The compiler kind of picks and chooses, okay, which function to use. And it'll be just based on the data types. Okay, it'll know. The key thing is to set it up right, all right? And then it'll do the rest for you. All right, okay. This enables you to create a function that can average integers, doubles, and other variable values, without having to create individual names for each function, such as average ints or average doubles, right? You can just create a function with the same name and overload it. It's pretty cool. Suppose you write a function that doubles whatever input you give it. You would like to be able to pass an int, a long, a float, or a double. Without function overloading, you would have to create 4 function names, right? So let's say, as an example, int, double int. I should probably show you so that it makes more sense, right? So they like to have, I like to do mine lowercase than uppercase, camel case. This is what I use a lot. They have with theirs uppercase. Okay, so there's that option. You can have the I'm just trying to recall. That is called Pascal case. Okay, Pascal case normally used for classes. Like, I will use Pascal case for classes 100%. Sometimes you'll see Pascal case used for functions as well. Now, I guess it's an each to their own. If you're going to work for a company, you kind of have to follow their general standards or guidelines. They might give you a sheet that you can work off of. They might be specific on what you use for your variable names, what you use for your functions or methods, what you use for your classes. I always 100% use this for my classes all the time. Okay, when we get there, I'll show you. For me, my methods or functions begin lowercase. It's just the habit I've gone with. So let's say you wanted to create, so what they say here is, suppose you write a function that doubles whatever input you give it. You would like to be able to pass an int, a long, a float, or a double. without function overloading, you would have to create 4 functions, right? So this is the point here, right? And then you would have to create a new name, right? Which would take a long. That's kind of what they're getting at, right? You're having to create all these different functions, return type functions, and then this one would probably say float, right? Which takes a float. You get the idea? You can see the repetition in code that you have to do, right? You're creating 4. You want it to just double the value, but the data type is different. Okay, you get it? Okay, so we basically had to create 4 different functions, which we don't really want to do, right? That's why function overloading exists. So with function overloading, you make this declaration. Let's just see. Pop, pop, pop. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to control KC comments. So instead I'm going to go like this. Like this. Like this. This. I'm just gonna go like that anyways. I know I begin mine with lowercase, but so int, long, float, double. We have the same name for all of them. This is easier to read and easier to use. You don't have to worry about which one to call. You just pass in a variable and the right function is automatically called. So whatever data type you pass in, the program or the compiler will recognize it as an int or a float or whatever, and it'll use the right appropriate function. Okay, that's what it does. Okay, all right. So with that said, since we've done that, I'm just going to get rid of this. These are going to be our prototypes. I'm going to basically pass it up here. Well, I'm not passing it. I'm placing them up here. Okay. Int double int, long double long, float double float, double double, double, and triple triple triple. Boy, that coffee tastes good. Let's go. Don't forget, buy me a coffee. And remember, sharing is caring. Let's go. Okay, I must finish up. We're kind of getting into overtime here a little bit. Close. This video has been commercial free. That's great. I love it. Okay, a lot of information here going on. Okay, okay, I'm going to do a little bit just to show an example. This is a little bit long, but we'll just keep it kind of basic for now. Okay, let's continue. So I'm going to go like this. Quick actions and refactoring. Back up top. Quick actions and refactoring. It's just kind of quicker. Or you could just copy them and do it yourself. The return types, see, notice the difference in the return? And quick actions and refactoring. We're finally working with all the different variables. Okay. Float, you notice, has the F. That's common. I don't, it's kind of, for me, I just think of it as an explicit thing. because float and double are both decimal notation types. Okay, so there's our function. We're just whatever value gets put in, we're just doubling it. Okay. So I could return some statement that says that this is kind of just to show you which function we're in. Okay, that's all this is doing. And yeah, I better do that. Do I want it to return after? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this. Just depends on how it spits it out. And then we're gonna return, we need a variable. Okay, that's right, I need a variable. And the variable name could be the same as well. So, deval? No, because I don't want it to be, I'm just gonna call it user val. Good enough. I'm trying to keep it simple. And I'm gonna use the same value or same variable for each one. Okay, take note. So the only thing that we're doing is we're taking that and we're multiplying it by 2. That's it. Okay, and I could copy this, paste it in here, go like this, go like that. Just gonna get rid of that. And it's pretty much the same calculation. We're just doubling it, guys. That's all. Okay, Control V. That didn't work. Control C. Control V. Remember to update when you're copying and pasting. Oh. Well, yeah. Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, and here, I was just thinking of the data type or return value. Okay, there. I'm gonna have an enter there, so that doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's our definitions all done. Whatever value gets passed in, it's just getting doubled. That's it. Nothing special. Simple code. Okay, and then here's just stating which function we were in. Okay, so now let's go to the main, and we're going to create our variables, and we're going to call it myInt. Here we could have different names. Okay, so wild sauce. I don't want to use insane values, so I'm just gonna go 65 and then my long equals 650, and then float is that I just want to check something out. My float equals I don't know, I'm gonna go 6.50 F, and okay, so it's it's int long float double, int long float double. Okay, good. And my double, and yeah, I don't want to go too crazy with the values, so 65 points, I don't know, 6500.23, I don't know, whatever, just random values. Okay, my long can be 6500, my double can be let's just, the range, it doesn't really matter between the ranges, so just thinking ranges. Long can be negative, floats can be negative, doubles can be negative. The float and double range is exponential. It could be like just huge, fast numbers. Okay? I only need numbers like this in my bank account. I'd be okay, comfortable, which I don't. I think mine's in the negative. Pretty sure. All right, let's finish up. Okay, so there. Now I have to create new variables too, right? For the functions themselves, right? So, int, doubled int. I do have to kind of go like this. I have no choice because the data type is different. Doubled long. I could say something like return doubled int, return doubled long, right? It wants me to initialize. I'll do that. Fine. Float doubled float and double double. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do what they recommend because it's just quicker and easier. I could put an F there, why not? And come on, these are decimal types, that's why it does that. Okay, now so we could return it. So I don't know why we would do that. I don't want to return the values to the screen. We don't need to return these to the console. Okay, we can actually see them right here. We know what the values are. So let's take this and make it match our int1, right? It has to match the int, and then we're going to pass in the int. Okay, you following along? Make sure you match. Okay, now we're going to do the long. We're going to copy the long, right? The long one. And then we're going to pass in the long variable, which has that value. We're going to pass that in. Boom. Okay, don't let it confuse you. I'm trying to make it organized here. Okay, and then we're going to grab our float function. Remember, these all have the same name, just different data types, right? Depends on the data type we're passing. But you have to make sure you use the correct one, right? So, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Get rid of that, silly me. Okay, and then pass in my float. Bop. And last but not least, we're just making our variable here equal our function, okay? The function itself is going to do all the magic. And then pass in, am I passing in the right, no, I didn't pass in the right value there, silly me. Okay, I gotta be consistent, my bad, guys. I figured it out, I seen it. We're passing in these are the ones for passing in. For, actually, our arguments, okay? We pass in our arguments. These are our left left-hand side variables. Okay, that's what they are. Okay, that makes sense? Left-hand side equals right-hand side. All right, our right-hand side is going to be our function. So we've done all that. So, whoops, I didn't finish there. That's why. So let's just build it quickly, right? Make sure we're passing in our arguments. Int, my long, my float, my double. Okay, good. Same function name. This is our int variable, long variable, float variable, double variable. Okay. That all matches. All right, now let's return it to console. What are we going to say? I could just copy the names, right? And just maybe go our doubled int. Something like that. Our doubled int. And then make sure I pick doubled int. And go with a single new line. Because we're after a variable, I'm going to do this. And then I'm just going to copy that. And then I'm going to go our doubled long. And then make sure I pick doubled long for the return. Just being consistent with the pattern, guys and gals. So our doubled float. And return our doubled float. And last but not least, our double double. Our double double. And return our double double. Okay, and this is just the efforts of our hard work. Okay. In console. Okay, there we go. Just to give you an idea what is what. All right, there's a little bit of information there. Yeah, I know. But it's pretty organized, right? You guys get it, right? Just be consistent. Make sure you're kind of staying focused on what you're doing, returning. You can double check your work. Doubled int we're returning. Doubled long we're returning. Doubled float we're returning. And double double we're returning. All right, let's check it out and run it. I should have created some space. Okay, let me do that. Probably right here, maybe. Just another way of doing it, guys and gals. This is a legal statement. Okay, and run. There we go. Check it out. Big A's. Let's drop the A's because why not? Okay, cool. So, there you go. Now you just seen for the first time what you can do. What we've done is the concept is called function overloading, boys and girls. Function overloading, right? Take note. Our function name is the same. The data types are all different, right? Int, long, these are all our data types that we're passing in. And we're also making sure that we pass in the proper data type, but it doesn't matter. Let's say you could create all these overloaded functions and somewhere through your code, right? all you need to do is just pass in an int, right? And the program's going to pick the right function. It's going to select. It's going to go, okay, he's got an int. He passed in an int. Okay, I'm going to go here, right? It figures it out based on the data type. Oh, I got this open. See, that's why you got to pay attention to that stuff. Okay, and run. See, there we go, 112. And I passed in 56. Okay, so let's say I passed in, right? All I need is one variable. I'm just showing you the work, but I could pass in 5.6f. Okay? And the program, it doesn't care what possible. Oh, it's a double, that's why. Did I pick double? No. What? No, it should know. Why are you saying that to me? Int. Oh, what? Doubled int. Oh, that's why. That does matter. Okay, whoa. Stop. I must use the correct variable. Okay, that's my issue. What am I passing in a float? Yeah. That's what it is. It's telling me, it's saying, hey, you're using the wrong one. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to go like this. Okay? The reason is, guys, just so you know, right? I'm passing in a 5.6f, right? Which is float. It's saying to me, hey, you got to use the right variable. Okay, I wasn't using the right variable. I was actually using this one, which is our int variable. So that's why it was doing that. So build it, boom, and done. Right, 11.2, no issues. This is kind of on me with the variable type, right? We do have to give it a type, so let me just undo all that. But you can see that's kind of how it works. Okay, so I could just pass in different values here. Now I could go, these are all hard-coded. We could set it up where a user, let's go 5. We'll just change the values. Let's go, 45. 81, 84, sure, whatever, right? Now, of course, we have to have different variables to catch all that information, right? That's the only thing, if you notice. Okay, but it works no problem. No issues. It selects the correct function, but then on the other hand, I'm really telling it which function to use in the sense. So, but you do have that option. Okay, just another way of doing things. And that's it. I don't need to do any more than that. That's the end of that. I didn't want to confuse you too much, but we could put in some pretty large numbers if we wanted to. I could go 14,000. A long is pretty long, so I could go like that. A long isn't a decimal, right? It's just a whole number type. I never even actually asked myself that before. I mean, that is the range, but these do show decimals, but it's just the way they typed it. These are actually supposed to be commas. Okay? So don't let that confuse you. But I imagine a long, is it a long, a whole number? Is it? I'm just guessing. Let me run it. There we go. And again, we could have users enter these values. Somehow it has to encode. You're going to have to probably maybe have if-else statements or something to that effect, where the program checks what the data type is and then selects the correct one of these to use, right? That decision in code is going to be kind of through if-else statements somehow. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's a lot, but that's another option in your toolbox, all right? The double function is overloaded with, let me just go like that, like that. The double function is overloaded with int, long, float, and double. The prototypes are obviously up here. Note that in this example, the statement we're not using namespace standard, has been added to this makes, I'm not using that. I'm actually typing standard, so I'm not being lazy. In the body of the main, 8 local variables are declared. We didn't do 8. Or unless they're talking about all these, maybe, because there are 8 technically. They are local as well, so that's true. This makes the statement global to this file. What? No, I'm reading the wrong spot. My bad. 8 local variables are declared. 4 of the values are initialized. And the other 4 are assigned the results of passing the first 4 to the double function, right? What's up, Bob? Yeah. Okay. Note that when double is called, the calling function does not distinguish which one to call. It just passes in an argument and the correct one is invoked. Right? That's kind of what I was getting at, right? That's what's happening right here. Right? My logic is thinking is, right, you pass in a value, it'll pick the correct one to use, right? Based on the value that you pass in. But then on the other hand, we're actually being explicit to which data type to use, right? I can't just pick any one of these as you've seen and pass in a different data type, right? It kind of argues. And that's normal, right? The way it's set up, if that's, it's doing the right thing. Okay, it's letting you know, hey, you're using the wrong one, right? Okay, the other 4 assign the results of passing the first 4. Note that when double is called, the calling function does not distinguish which one to call. Okay, I already read that. The compiler examines the arguments and chooses which of the 4 double functions to call, right? Of course, it would kind of go here and make that decision and figure out which ones. And it's based on the data type again. But then we're being explicit. This function is actually being explicit to this variable, right? Return variable. The output reveals that each of the 4 was called in turn, as you expect. Special topics about functions. And I'm going to finish up here, guys, gals. Is this a new section? Probably. We're going to get into more functions. I know it's a lot, but functions, they're utilized a lot, right? It's all part of coding, guys. So, gals, get used to them. When you start working in classes, you start working with functions, but they're also known as methods, okay? We're going to get into special topics about functions. I could read that. Let's read that. Because functions are so central to programming, a few special topics arise that might be of interest when you confront unusual problems. Used wisely, we're going to get into inline functions. Inline functions can help you squeak out that last bit of performance. Actually, they do, in fact, right? They're kind of like that static concept. Function recursion is one of those wonderful esoteric bits of programming which every once in a while can cut through a thorny problem otherwise not easily solved. Okay, we're going to get into inline functions. We'll do an example on that. And then we're going to get into recursion. Let's go. Guys, gals, I will show you a recursion example. Fibonacci series is going to be our example. That's kind of the common example you'll see anyways. But I have another one I've done on YouTube, and I'll share that with you as well. All right, guys and gals, that is it for today. I must finish up. We are in overtime. And the streams are getting a little bit longer again. I spent probably the first almost half an hour yakking and just going on and on. So you're technically speaking getting a good 2 hours of instruction, right? Winner, chicken dinner for you all day, breakfast Sunday. What's good, huh? What is good? Okay, hold up. One last thing I gotta kind of do in chat. Did I pick the right one? Maybe I did. Doesn't look like it. Hold up. There it is. Okay, cool. Coolio. And then we're done. We're done for today. All right, guys, gals, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for learning along. Johnny here, Whiskey Tango Sharp Coding. Again, I appreciate so much for watching and learning. I certainly hope it's helping. Let me know by clicking the like button and all those sort of good things. Watching the content as much as you can. Again, follow the series. We're going step by step here, gradually growing and leveling up our C++ coding knowledge. Let's go, turn it up. All right, whoever you are, wherever you are, it's Friday. Have a great weekend if it's Friday for you today. I will see you in the next video live stream. Take care for now, guys and gals. Be safe. Much love. Johnny for now saying peace out, guys. Take care. Peace.
Baby, I don't understand this.